A first look at this Flybear J35 beginner EDF jet. It's sub 250 gram and it is brushless. This is courtesy of Banggood. I want to thank them much for sending this for review. This is a nice looking EDF jet. Alright, so you get the jet, you get the transmitter. It's one of those almost like a game style transmitter. You get the manual, you get a 2S USB charger. Mine came with a single 2S 650 milliamp hour, and I think it's a 25C LiPo. And we'll take a look at that. It's made out of EPP foam and ABS plastic. You know how much I like the EPP foam. It is the most durable foam I've come across. So say there's the battery in the battery bay. I do have about 5 LiPos, not counting this one, that will fit in there. Everything from a 600 milliamp hour, I think, up to a 700 milliamp hour LiPo. So, and they're all about the same weight. This LiPo is 35 grams. So I'm going to be able to get some flight time on it when I take it out, even though it just came with a single battery. So here's the front. It's got a pretty good size air inlet in the front of this little EDF unit, and on the bottom it has the even larger air inlet. So I don't think that this motor is going to be starved for air. I think that with the air inlets in the front, and I think the air inlet here on the bottom, I think that that little EDF unit will have plenty of airflow to it. I tried taking my little slide caliper and measuring the diameter of the EDF unit, you know, through this little mesh right here, this air inlet, and it looks like it's approximately a 40 millimeter EDF unit, and it has a 5-blade fan or prop, whichever you prefer. It states in the specs the motor is a 1335, but it does not specify what the kV of that motor is. So I don't know. Here's a better view of it. Okay, so part of the assembly is just attaching the landing gear. The front strut is shorter than the other two, so you're not going to have any problems figuring out which is which. And the wires, the landing gear strut wires, just slide into the receivers in the back and in the front. Assembly is very easy. You do have to glue in the vertical stabilizers. It does not come with any glue. Now, for EPP foam and EPP foam, I like using the E6000 glue. That's worked really, really well for me. Every control surface has its own servo. I was really surprised to see that. Okay, it has a single EDF unit, has dual nozzles coming out the back. I did test it, make sure everything was working, but we'll see how this little beginner EDF jet compares to the larger ones as far as power and performance. Alright, here is the vertical stabilizers. As I stated, you have to glue those in. There are slots that they fit into. There are letters stenciled on the fuselage and on the outside of the vertical stabilizers, marked R and L for left and right, so there's no confusion on which side those are going to go on. And here's a picture of the transmitter. So it has 3 different modes, but with the slide switch in the A position, as you see it here, it is fully stabilized, and it is the most restrictive on the pitch and the roll axis. In the center, on the B selector, it's still fully stabilized, but it's less restrictive on the roll and the pitch. With the slide selector in the C position, that is the 3D mode. 3D mode is supposed to be full manual mode, so there's no restriction at all. So I will try and test it out in all 3 modes when I take it out for its maiden launch. It has 2 buttons, one on the top left-hand side, one on the right-hand side. There was nothing in the manual that specified anything about the button on the top right-hand side of the transmitter. But on the top left-hand button, it specified rudder. So a lot of times they will call it, they will specify rudder, but it usually means high and low rate. So we'll also test that to see if there is in fact a high and a low rate on this transmitter, as well as the A, B, and C selector modes for the gyro. I can't tell you one way or the other until I test it. Alright, here's the specs. So it is a brushless beginner EDF jet. It has a wingspan of 370 millimeters. It's 4-channel. It's made out of EPP. It has a 6G 3D gyro, as I specified, and it comes as a ready to fly. In the specifications, it states that the all-up weight is 130 grams. Mine was actually 140 grams. The LiPo is weighed 35 grams, and the dimensions on it are 47 millimeters by 26 millimeters by 17 millimeters. So the all-up weight on mine is 105 grams all-up weight with the stock LiPo. The LiPo bay is 60 millimeters in length by 31 millimeters in width by 18 millimeters in height. So not a lot of room on the height, but like I said, I do have 5 additional LiPos that will fit in there. As I stated, the EDF unit diameter appears to be about 40 millimeters. And here's where it specifies the fuselage length is 530 millimeters, and it specifies the motor as a 3035. But I have, like I said, I have no idea what the KD is, but it does have a 5-blade fan or prop on it, whichever you prefer. The stock LiPo is a 2S 650 milliamp hour. I think it is a 25C. It states over 6 minutes of flight in the marketing material. In the manual, it states 8 minutes of flight. I will be setting my timer for 5 minutes to begin with. It says charging time takes approximately 90 minutes with the provided charger. The transmitter does require 3 AA batteries that are not included, and you'll also need some glue. The nose cone, the little rubberized nose cone, you do have to slide that over the foam in the front. That's not on there by default, so you have to put on the nose cone, you have to slot in the landing gear, and you have to glue in the vertical stabilizers, and that is all the assembly that you have to do. It says it has a control distance of more than 200 meters, and most of these little micros that come out are typically pretty good for 300 meters. The package includes the plane, the transmitter, the USB charging cable. Mine came with 1 battery. There's also a 2-battery version. If I was going to pull the trigger on this, I would get the 2-battery version because it's cheaper than buying it separately. Comes with the landing gear, comes with the retail box, and comes with the instruction manual. The manual is really, really basic, but there's nothing on here that's going to be difficult to figure out. Okay, so that gives you all the information on the first look of this beginner EDF jet. I've never had an EDF jet this small, so this is going to be very interesting and hopefully very, very fun. So as soon as I have the wind, I'm going to charge up my batteries. As soon as I have the wind, I will be taking it out. Hopefully that will be in a day or 2. So stay tuned for the maiden flight on this little Flybear J35. It is the FX9631 beginner EDF jet. We'll put it through its paces and see what we can do with it. Alright, that's a wrap on this episode. Stay tuned, and I'll see you next time in the Tinkerz Lab.